Hello, Bond fans, and welcome once again. So, it's been a while since we caught up with dear old James Bond Jr., or should that be dear young James Bond Jr.? But yes, I thought it was around about time that we got reacquainted with the kid who, well, helped usher James Bond through the early 1990s. Now, I'm not intentionally skipping episode 4, it's not so terrible that it can't be reviewed or anything like that, it's just that, well, I haven't been able to find a video of episode 4 of good enough quality to actually make a video out of. So, with that in mind, this isn't exactly a series that cares heavily about continuity regardless, so I don't think we're missing anything. But with that in mind, let's plough on right through to episode 5, shall we? This is Plunder Down Under. So we open the episode with a giant machine attacking a frigate at sea, because that's a completely new concept to the Bond universe. The spy will love me Fiores, only tomorrow never dies.
This is Captain Milbanks! Abandon ship! Abandon ship!
Missed the mark a bit there, guys.
The hatch is jammed! Looks like this captain's going down with his ship!
I love how the captain has good humour enough to acknowledge the irony of his own death. Well, there's no one else around to make a witty comment, so it looks like I'll have to do it myself. It looks like the captain actually does go down with his ship, which is kinda dark. And after the super catchy main title song, the episode proper begins.
Imagine traveling to Greece and visiting the Parthenon on a school trip. It's so beautiful.
Wow, even as far as blatant exposition goes, that exposition was incredibly blatant. So the gang, minus IQ, who stayed back at the hotel, I guess the animators just couldn't be bothered animating another character in this scene. Anyway, the gang are on a field trip in Greece. They're at the Parthenon, but Gordo is distracted by a handheld video game console, as he explains to us very slowly.
Ship Ahoy is one of the gnarliest video games ever!
I'm told by the producers that if I talk slow, it pads out the episode and they don't have to animate as much. Trevor challenges Gordo to a video game duel and Gordo storms off.
Gee, what is it, Mr. Mitchell? You look upset.
I just heard some bad news.
Is it that he's finally been fired from the academy on account of being a terrible guardian to his students? I mean, honestly, look, he just lets them wander around a foreign country unsupervised.
Another ship has disappeared, supposedly attacked by a sea monster.
It turns out that it was Tracy's uncle that was the captain of the ship that we saw being taken under sea at the start of the episode. This is some pretty dark stuff so far. Bond Jr. vows to find the ship, while back at the hotel, Tracy laments.
We've talked to every seaman on the docks, and we still have no clues. Captain William is my favorite uncle.
Oh, if only it had been one of my other uncles, then I wouldn't have been half as upset.
I'm sure your uncle will be all right. Why don't we try some scuba diving?
Oh, yeah, great idea, Junior. Flawless as always. Hey, you know what? I hear that Gordo's uncle died last weekend, yet he was eaten by a lion. Why don't you take Gordo to the zoo? I'm sure that'll cheer him up no end. There's a nice scene in which IQ gadgets up Bond Jr. in true Q Branch style before everyone minus Phoebe and Trevor suit up and head to the dock to happen upon Jaws. The gang follow in their not-so-subtle scuba gear to happen upon the giant machine from earlier.
It's some sort of fantastic ship-snatching device.
Well, fantastic might be going a bit far. I mean, it's okay as far as ship-stealing devices go. I don't think that Blofeld or Stromberg have much to worry about just yet.
Now let's get to the bottom of the sea.
It looks like that giant claw's taking the oil tanker to that fortress on the bottom.
Oh, okay, actually, maybe Stromberg does have something to worry about, as this villain seems to have already enacted Stromberg's plan of creating an undersea civilization. This episode's really borrowing from The Spy Who Loved Me quite significantly, isn't it? The gang head back to report when a giant great white shark appears. A rather mechanical-looking giant great white shark. Did Kevin McClory ever see this? I'm amazed he didn't sue them, considering all the robot remote-controlled sharks from his Never Say Never Again sequel script Warhead. Bond Jr. and crew are eaten, and it turns out the shark is actually a submarine commandeered by Jaws. So, Jaws is piloting Jaws. How meta can you get?
Now, raise your hands like good little prisoners.
I wonder what's taking them so long. I should have been back hours ago.
Mitchell begins to show a semblance of competency when he wonders where more than half the young people in his charge have disappeared to, so him and Phoebe set off to find the gang. Meanwhile, Bond Jr. and co are taken to an undersea Death Star, where they see that all the missing ships are being stored there. Huh. Well, that's a very direct reference to The Spy Who Loved Me. I mean, I got that they were borrowing from the movie, but I never thought they'd downright copy the whole plot.
James, I have an idea.
An idea?
Come on, let's find a way out of here.
Tracy plots the gang's brilliant escape, and they find her uncle before being captured again. Our heroes then come face to face with the big baddie of the episode, Captain Walker D. Plank. Do you get it, kids? Apparently this isn't the first time Plank and Bond Jr. have crossed paths, despite it being the first time we've ever seen Plank in the series, who goes on to exposit his villainous plan to fit all the stolen ships with weapons and remote control abilities so that he can take over the world with them.
Soon I'll be the most feared cutthroat to ever hoist a Jolly Roger!
If you ask me, I'd say you've seen a few too many pirate movies.
Ah, yes, that well-known pirate movie trope of stealing ships and fitting them with lasers and remote controls, yeah. Yeah, do you remember when Johnny Depp did that in that movie? Oh, well, I do love a good old-fashioned world takeover plot. While left alone, IQ modifies Gordo's game console to act as an override system so Gordo can start controlling the ships, and starts using them to blow each other up. Where have I seen that before? Water starts flooding in and Plank makes his getaway. Bond Jr. uses his admittedly very cool laser ring to escape, rescues Tracy's uncle, and has a final showdown fight thing with Jaws.
Your time's run out, Bond.
Yours too, Jaws. According to this electromagnetic watch. Bon voyage!
James, are you okay?
Yes, but I think Jaws bit off a bit more than he could chew.
Yeah, fair enough, I'll let you have that one.
Come on, let's blow this place before we're all sucking seawater.
The gang meet up with Phoebe and Mitchell above sea level, and on returning to the academy, Gordo decides that after real-world battleships, he can't be bothered playing a video game equivalent with Trevor, while Bond Jr. quips us out.
It's not whether you win or lose, it's finding someone to play with.
So, I actually quite liked this episode. Sure, it was stealing plot points from other Bond sources, and you really have to give them props for having the balls to steal something from a Kevin McClory idea, but overall, it's a nifty little episode. It's cool seeing more of the gang in this one. I have a feeling Phoebe and Gordo are going to be the most sidelined of the gang, so it's nice to see them pop up here, despite both of them having incessantly annoying voices.
That's what you think, Noseworthy.
Oh, and that's not all.
It's always good to see Jaws, and while Walker D. Plank doesn't leave much of an impression beyond looking like a Village People reject, he seems like a campy enough villain with a good enough evil laugh that I look forward to seeing him in future adventures. Heck, he's a hell of a lot more colourful than Stromberg, that's for sure. Plunder Down Under is a pleasant and breezy enough episode in the series. Though I'd still rank episode 3, The Chameleon, as my favourite so far, this one does come a close second. Check it out if you fancy a good flavour of what the series whole has to offer. So stay tuned for a look at episode 6, featuring a very green-looking Dr. No when James Bond Jr. returns in A Chilling Affair.